How are you doing? You're welcome again to Strategy and Capacity Development class. In this class, we discuss thought-provoking subjects that get you thinking and deciding on how to do things better. For our class today, we shall be looking at communication. Communication is very, very important in strategy and capacity building and development. We need to communicate formally or informally, officially or unofficially, written or unwritten. Communication is a necessary tool. When one communicates well, he or she is referred to as an orator. That means the person has oratory skills and could also be referred to or addressed as being as eloquent as Cicero. Alright, so we need to communicate well for us to build our capacity, and we need to communicate well for us to make strategic impact. In communication, there are certain manners of approach. You don't just communicate anyhow. Manner of approach matters in communication, also matters in strategy and capacity building. Manner of approach and communication determines whether an intention or venture will yield the expected results or dividend. And so in communication, you consider the language. The language matters. You need to know the language of the environment. Number two, you need to know, make good choice of words. Good choice of words matter, and again, one will need to mind the tone of his or her expression, the tone of transmission. In communication, there could be crescendo or diminuendo of tones. Tonal modulation matters, and if you get the language right, get the choice of words right, and the tone of expression, the mood, the expression, the impression you create through all these things will determine how far you will achieve your expected goal or result. It is expected of anyone to be literate enough for him to speak well and to communicate well. The scripture talks about the language and literature of the Chaldeans. Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were expected to be familiar with the language and literature of the Chaldeans. They need to be trained so that they will be familiar, and that will help them to achieve the expected goals or render the expected services in the royal palace. And so it's important one minds the literature, get literate enough, and then becomes there is need for one to have good language. And so in communication, the following are required. Number one, respect. There should be respect in communication. Number two, there should be humility in communication. And next, there should be what is called sobriety. One should be sober enough. There should be an element of sobriety. You don't talk harshly. You don't communicate roughly or rudely. It affects transmission. It causes a break in transmission. For communication to count, one will need to consider respect, humility, and sobriety. Whereas the following would affect communication when there is a flow or a display of arrogance or pride or stubbornness. It affects communication. Therefore, in strategy building and development, capacity building, we need to improve on our communication. Your communication network, whether verbal or non-verbal, matters. Join us in our subsequent classes as we help you in developing your power of communication. Thank you. See you some other time.